What's up, guys? I'm gonna wait for a little bit of people to get in here and then we'll start. Alright, so we got about 100 people in here. I'm gonna try to keep this under 15 minutes so you guys can get on with your day and I can get on with my day. I'm gonna have a hard time keeping up with reading all of these things, so please bear with me. Alright, so PID tuning. First off, let's figure out what PID stands for. Proportional, integral, and derivative. We're not going to go into like super hardcore details because I know you guys don't care about the theory of it, you just want to know how to do it. So it's not something that is literally just going to be able to be taught in one thing. Say, oh, P does this, and when this happens that you need to change this. There's literally no time that is ever going to happen. You're never going to be able to say, that happened, and I know exactly why it happened, and I'm going to put P in, or I'm going to put D in, because literally all of these things work as a group. So if you change one, then you have to change the other one. So that's why PID tuning is so hard. It's because everything is linked together. If you change one thing, then obviously you have to change the other two things. And then rates come into play, so it's like a deep web of things that you have to, it's ever changing, and I mean I learn new things every single time I touch a PID controller. So and I've been doing this for about 18 months now, and I do it as a living, so I mean I'm around it all the time every day, and when I go out and I try to tune something, I learn something new every single time. So please do not feel like you're going to be able to say, oh, I learned how to PID tune today and I'm going to go out tomorrow and my aircraft's going to fly just as smooth as everybody else's in the world. So I'll start off with Betaflight because I know there's millions of people out there that are psyched on Betaflight. So let's just go ahead and talk about Betaflight for a minute. I'm not going to go super in detail as far as the nuances with each PID controller, but I will tell you a couple things that I found out with each PID controller and each flight controller. They all have their separate characteristics that are going to give you some kind of, maybe if you add P to one, it'll do a different characteristic than if you add P to another. So the only ones I'm going to deal with are Betaflight, which I only have done Betaflight 2.16 and 2.20, so I'm not going to go any higher than that. And it shouldn't really matter. It's just the basics of PID tuning, so don't freak out. So this is a prototype F3 NAS kind of style board, and I'll plug it into my computer and I'll show you the PIDs I had for my 5-inch Alien. And this was the exact flight controller that was on my aircraft when I did the video around Christmas time, so the one I was flying in the field with like the Michael Bublé song. So let's go ahead and get on this, and I'm probably going to strap you guys to my head as a head cam mount just because it may be easier to see. It might not be though, so we'll try some stuff out. This is the first time I've done this. Alright, so we've plugged in our Clean Flight board and we've opened up Clean Flight. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me know if you can. I know the lighting's not very good, but yeah, hopefully nobody calls us. Alright, so we've gone into Clean Flight. Please tell us you're going to upload this. This is on catch.me. If you guys read my thing at all, I mean most people just go onto Facebook and explode and post on shit and don't read anything. But yeah, if you want this, catch.me records all of this and it's there permanently, so you can watch it as many times as you want. You can share, you can do whatever you want. So please don't ask me to put this on YouTube. I'm trying to do this and keep the time constraint smaller than 15 minutes because I don't have the time to devote to posting these videos on YouTube. I mean, I have 2 hours of upload time. I have 4 to 6 hours per day or per video. I mean, this is not a one video thing, so please bear with me. Catch.me. If other people ask, just tell them catch.me. My Instagram, whatever, all of this stuff is all Mr. Steel. FPV. You can find any information you want, and it's all online permanently now, thanks to catch.me. Alright, so we are in here, we are in clean flight. Let me move this crap board out of the way so it doesn't get crushed by my big fat arm. And we'll go into here. I'm running S-Bus, so you guys see the little serial port. I run motor stop on, my min throttle is at 1060, my max throttle was at 2000. I used to orient the boards at 90 degrees at yaw so that the freaking USB port was on the side. And obviously serial RX because I was running S-Bus protocol on the Free Sky systems. Now, I'll just go into a tiny little bit of detail. These numbers right here, the minimum throttle and the max throttle, are always going to be fairly similar unless you're running some sketchy ESCs. Max throttle is always going to be 2000 microseconds, and min throttle is going to be subject to the ESC you're using. So if you're using a KISS ESC, it's one of the lowest idling ESCs. It actually idles at 1050, but to be a little safe, I run 1060 at min throttle just so, like, for say for some reason if the tolerances are off or something and it idles at 1054 on one ESC and 1053 on another, things aren't perfect, so you want to make sure that everything is going to be safe, so that when you go to min throttle or something, even if you're running air mode, one of the motors doesn't stop because of the tolerance is saying that 1050 is my lowest I'm going to go, and the other one says, oh, well, 1053 is the lowest I'm going to go. So the 1053 one's going to stop when the 1050 one is not. So yeah, I just run a little bit higher so that you can run safely. Now on the KISS flight controller, it's going to be the same thing. My min throttle is actually going to be 1050, and min command is going to be 1060, which, like I said, some of these things are different, so don't freak out. Just kind of go off. I mean, the stock stuff works too. I think it's 1100 on BL Heli crab, which I'm not going to go into because I hate BL Heli. Please don't ask me to do anything on BL Heli. I will not do it. I cannot stand it. KISS is pretty much all I'm going to do, and you're going to get a lot of information off of the KISS stuff. But please, yeah, don't ask me about BL Heli. Okay, so we'll go to PIDs. Okay, I know the whole world has been wanting this screenshot for decades now, and I don't really understand why, but there you go, which I will say now that if I were to retune this thing today, I would completely do it differently. But yeah. Now, I'll just tell you about, this is PID controller 1, so multi-wee rewrite, and my PID numbers for roll are 4, 8, and 10.8 for pitch, or for proportional. Integral is 20.027. 0.027 for pitch and roll, and then yaw was 0.34, and then derivative, which was D, is 19, 22, and 13. And then my rates were 0.84 for pitch and roll, and then yaw rate was 1.20. TPA breakpoint was 1580, and TPA was 20%. So now a lot of that stuff probably doesn't mean anything to you guys, which that's kind of what I'm doing this for. But let me tell you a little bit, just basics, okay? So in a real world scenario, in a vacuum, all you want to deal with is P. Just think of it like that. If you didn't have any external forces, you didn't have any kind of funky things going on with the aircraft, then P would be the only thing you'd need. D, yeah, it's important, but it's not as important as P. Now, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, it wobbles, just add more D. I mean, yeah, cool, you're going to get some of the same outcomes with a lot of different numbers. You can put in completely different numbers on any aircraft and you can get similar results. So don't think that one number is better than another. If some guy has a way to add D, the only thing it's going to do is change the feeling characteristics of how the aircraft feels on the sticks. So for me, I like the highest P I can possibly get, because that's the most crisp feel I'm going to get out of the stick feel. Now, the lowest D, the highest P, and then ultimately the highest I. So highest P, highest I, and lowest D is going to get you the best stick feel. Now, a lot of flight controllers can't handle a high I and a high P without oscillations. So that's why on the PID-1 controller, on this particular version of Betaflight, which is 2.16, I had to run a low I. And I got used to running low I's because I is essentially any external force like wind or prop wash or anything like that. If you have an I figure, the higher the I figure, the more it's going to counteract that in the PID controller. So if a wind gust comes in from the left side of your quad, if you have a low I, then the actual wind gust is going to pick the quad up from the left side. If you have a high I, it will fight that and try to maintain a level. So again, I is very subjective to what you want to feel, but in general, higher I, as in high, I mean like 0.035 or 0.04, that's pretty high I. You're going to get a pretty good feel and characteristic out of the aircraft. Now for P's, on X frames and crap like that, these numbers are going to be completely different, but in general, on an H quad, roll is your lowest, pitch is your middle ground, basically about double of what roll is, and yaw is about triple of what roll is. So it goes 1, 2, 3. Usually, this is again generalization for how I've figured out how to tune. Mainly because pitch axis is the pitch and roll are least sensitive, or pitch and yaw are least sensitive to oscillations. If you roll P up on your roll axis, you're going to get ridiculous oscillations. This is the most sensitive one. Now, obviously, if I have roll at 4 and I keep bumping yaw and pitch up, then it's going to cause oscillations that I could actually get rid of by lowering my roll. But again, it's a balancing act. If you want something to feel good on all axes, you have to find that little sweet spot between all axes. And like I said, this is something that's not going to be learned overnight. You're going to have to fiddle with it for a long time. Same thing with D. On this particular flight controller, I actually would run a higher D on yaw for some reason. It just felt like it didn't jump as much when I stopped a really quick yaw maneuver. And again, there's so many little PID stupid CLI commands that you can put in, like yaw jump prevention and all that bullshit on Betaflight and clean flight. So again, I don't want to get into Betaflight too much, but I was running air mode at the time. My rates were 0.96 and expo is at 0.69. yaw expo is 0.26, and I was running arm on a switch and air mode. So let's go away from Betaflight because that's all I'm willing to talk about it. And we'll go into the KISS FC. Yeah, so again, this is not the most basic thing in the world, but you do need to have some PID understanding to be able to even comprehend what the hell I'm saying. So I apologize for that, but this is online forever on catch.me, so you can go online and you can potentially learn some more information about PIDs, and then you can come back to this and say, oh cool, look, I actually understand what the hell he's talking about now. So I got less than 3 minutes to tell you guys a little bit about the KISS FC, and then we'll cut this episode short and we'll do it again another day. Okay, so this is the KISS FC that is on my Alien at the moment. Now, please do not copy my PIDs and expect your aircraft to fly well. It is not going to fly well. I can tell you right now, just from experience, you can change a prop, a simple thing as a prop, from a tri-blade to a quad blade, and you're going to get completely different flying characteristics. So if you don't have an aircraft that is exactly like mine, in the sense that the weight distribution is perfectly the same, it weighs 679 grams, and it has Lumineer 2206 2350 kV motors on exactly this 225mm frame with KISS 24s, a KISS FC, the exact KISS firmware that I'm running, which is RC16, a GoPro in the front, and a helicopter coming in hot, then I'm sorry, your aircraft is not going to fly anything like mine. So please do not just copy this shit and expect it to work. I don't know what the hell this helicopter's doing, because I have never heard a helicopter ever at my house. So give me 1 second until this thing flies over. Alright. So, I'm on RC the GUI 1.05. This is the KISS FC. And I'm going to open this, and we'll go up here first. So a lot of people ask me about these numbers right here. 1050 for min throttle, 1000 for max throttle, 1060 for min command, 1050 for mid command, and then 1500 for yaw, min, whatever. No one needs to know about that. I'm running one shot 42, which is essentially, oh look at that, I have to end you guys. No, I'm just kidding, I'll go a couple more minutes. So one shot 42 and one shot 125, essentially the same thing. The only reason one shot 42 was even influenced or into this is because of people crying about race shot and all this bullcrap that came out that was like, oh, it's better than one shot 42. Look, I can run 9,000 degrees of amazingness. Look, it doesn't matter. One shot 42 is essentially the fastest command you're ever going to get. The flight controllers and the real world characteristics of these aircraft can't even handle things faster. So if there's a lot of people out there telling you that shit's working amazingly and this race shot, all this extra amazing fastness is making a difference, then honestly, they're sadly mistaken. So please, let me tell you guys something real quick. Racing and PID tuning, they're not really, they don't really work together. You can basically run stock PIDs on a KISS FC and get a quad that races really well. Now, FC flight characteristics are different on everything, like beta flight, clean flight, but essentially you should be able to run pretty much stock PIDs and get an aircraft that flies really well. Now for racing, yeah, there's obviously some parts of a race where you might be doing like split S's or something, or a really hard bank turn that you might need to adjust PIDs a little higher to make it a little more responsive. But essentially, in a nutshell, you can pretty much run stock PIDs and get an aircraft that will race well. Now, when PID controllers really show their teeth and show their true colors as far as when people can tune is when you do really aggressive, snappy movements. If you have a quad that does, I don't know, super fast roll rate, and then you just are super aggressive with the stick and you let go and the quad bounces all over the place, that is when you tell how well an aircraft is tuned. So when somebody comes out with a video on YouTube and they're like, dude, look at this epic tune, and they're just flying around like a gimbal, oh, okay, cool, I can go grab a stock KISS FC, plug it into an aircraft, any aircraft I want, it's going to fly exactly like that. That comes down to pilot skill. So please don't affiliate smooth flying with a well-tuned quad. Smooth flying can be really played off by the aircraft pilot and not so much the PID controller. So if you have a guy that's super smooth, his aircraft might not even be tuned well, he just might be kind of fighting the PID controller. And that's what I used to do when beta flight or clean flight wasn't working to my standards. I would actually adjust how I moved the sticks and how fast I stopped and all this stuff so that I would get a smooth outcome, because I couldn't tune out the problems. So that's why when I was running clean flight 1.9, I always had issues with it stopping and bobbling and doing all this bullshit. So I'd get it as close as I possibly could, and then I would adjust my flying style to make it smoother. Now, with that being said, since the KISS FC has come out, oh my god, since the KISS FC has come out, I've kind of learned that, holy crap, this thing can actually take a lot of abuse, and I've been able to up my rates and up my PIDs to get the feel that I want, because it all comes down to how it feels. And at the end of the day, people, if you don't know how to fly, you can't really understand what the feeling you want is. So it's kind of like a catch-22. You have to be able to you have to be able to know how to fly well to be able to understand what you want. And then to be able to understand what you want, it only comes from being able to fly well. So that's something that people are going to have to, it's just time and experience. Like I said, I've been doing this for 18 months, and it's something that I will not be able to teach you guys overnight. So I'm not actually going to show you my PIDs on here for this particular aircraft, because I don't want you guys to go copy this crap and expect it to work. Like I said, there are people out there that understand what I'm talking about, and they understand that it's not going to work. But then there are people out there that say, whoa, 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 and then they're going to share this shit all over the internet. And then people are going to say, oh, look, his PIDs suck because it doesn't work on this aircraft. I'm running a Shrike with 2209, 2000 kVs on 6x18 props, and it just doesn't fly right. So again, please, we'll do this again. This has been about 20 minutes of me just rambling about PID controllers and PID tuning, but I want to show you guys physical outcome of what happens when you put in a particular number, and you know, whatnot. So anyways, we will end this today. Hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't learn something, then please feel free to send me hate mail at www.hatemailsteeldavis.com. And if you don't like sending stuff to that, then you can send it on Facebook, and I will be sure to reply to it with mad hatred and memes and all kinds of stuff. So, final questions. I'll answer 3 good questions, and then we'll call this a day. 3 good questions coming in hot. Maybe. Dig it. So if you dig it, you're dirt. So that's one question. How do you open a banana? Well, you grab it from the top and you just I didn't even get that until I thought about it. Yeah. Oh my god. KISS ESC work with nays? Yes, it does. Yaw tuning, again, we'll get into that later. And one more. Is it okay to kiss on the first date? Yes, it is. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you later. Have fun.